Hello everybody, my name is Ronan, and that there is Wadsworth. Welcome to Now Z Here, weekly transition babble blog. Last week I made a point to stay on my schedule of keeping up with tea updates every month. And with that in mind, I chose to talk less about our particular political situation here in good old America. This week I don't have a particular schedule to stick to, so I thought I'd take some time this week to talk about what to do when reality doesn't feel like reality anymore. I know I've been questioning my understanding of reality a lot in the last 2 weeks, and part of me is still resistant to the idea that this is the way things are now, as if accepting it means I'm gonna succumb to some kind of spell, or I'm missing out on some escape hatch that'll get me out of this reality and into another one. And maybe if I just looked hard enough, I could find that escape hatch, but if I accept that this is reality now, I'm giving up. There is a part of me that is still clinging to those thought patterns. When I try to approach the issue from a rational perspective, I run into the question of, well, what is reality even? And that's a question that artists and philosophers and scientists have been, working to answer for pretty much the whole entirety of human experience. But let's get really simple and, for the purposes of this discussion, define reality as broadly the way things are. Almost everybody believes they know the way things are. Even if you acknowledge that there's a lot of things you don't know or a lot of things that you miss, be honest with yourself. There's a little voice in the back of your mind saying, I know the truth. I know what's really happening here. To use Wadsworth as an example, it's probably this little gear right back here, spinning away. Once I started thinking of the concept of reality as the way things are, think about this. Understanding or comprehending reality, comprehending the totality of the way things are, would mean comprehending everything from the movements of the galaxies down to the vibrations of the strings in our atoms. And somewhere in the middle of that, of all that, is the entire breadth of human experience. The entire breadth of human experience. And if thinking about it in terms of all of history, all of human history is a little too abstract for you, think about the entire breadth of modern human experience. Think about the experience of a person in, say, rural China compared to the experience of a white middle-class person in Chicago compared to Donald Trump. And so I thought about that. I thought about the understanding of reality, meaning the understanding of everything, meaning the understanding of the entire breadth of human experience, and it got me thinking about the elephant parable. Now, the elephant parable, there's a few versions. You might know it already. Essentially, a number of people, without the use of their sight, are presented with an elephant and told to describe it. And one person feels the trunk and says, this is obviously a snake. One person feels the leg and says, yes, this is clearly a tree. One person feels the very tip of the tail and says, yes, it is a paintbrush. And all of them think they know the way that an elephant is. They are convinced of it. And the version that I was the most familiar with of the elephant parable sort of just ends there. With the moral being that, well, not everybody can see the entire truth of a thing. But as a very quick visit to Wikipedia will tell you, as it did for me this morning, there are versions of the stories where the people talk to one another, and together they pool their knowledge and start to get a greater understanding of what an elephant is in reality. And so, when I try to approach the question of what to do when reality no longer feels like reality, and by that I mean when my personal concept of the way things are has been unseated to such a jarring degree, the first place I want to go to is talking with people, pooling knowledge, learning, and listening. And by that, I don't necessarily mean hug a Trump supporter or hug an anarchist. Maybe hug a Trump supporter if you're about to go to Thanksgiving and that Trump supporter is your aunt and you think that through a reasonable discussion you can both come to some greater understanding of each other's positions and realities, but do consciously put yourself far enough outside of your comfort zone that you start to feel it. That's the start. Just far enough that you start to feel that discomfort and engage with it. Welcome the discomfort, sit with it, and just hope that the other person or people are willing to meet you on the same terms. Because that is the only way we make any progress on understanding what this freaking elephant is. Anyway, that's all from me this week. Have a happy, happy holiday if you do celebrate. Please like this video if you enjoyed it. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And do check out my Patreon. There's a link in the description below. Everybody have a wonderful week. And always, always be changing.